Mysticons is an American-Canadian animated television series that premiered on August 28, 2017. The show is a collaboration between companies Nelvana Limited, Playmates Toys, The Tops Company, and Nickelodeon. Sean Jara, who has written for shows such as Johnny Test, Degrassi The Next Generation, Max Steel, Hot Wheels Battle Force 5, and Inspector Gadget, created the show and is executive story editor and producer. It was originally described as a series that aimed towards boys, but it changed demographics during development to instead target girls aged 6 and up. The shift occurred due to Nickelodeon's interest in pursuing the female market. Well, that was the Wikipedia entry. I didn't have a good intro joke this time, so yeah. Whew. Welcome to the Novoid. Hello everybody, Cap here to give you a break from my non-stop Powerpuff related content as of late. I know nobody complained openly, but I've seen this before. I don't want a game theory FNAF situation. Sadly, I kind of like the game theory FNAF videos, so I might be part of the problem. Oh man. Anyway, since Nickelodeon tends to be kind of tough with their copyright strikes, I'll only be using the clips that I deem absolutely necessary. I've only been requested by a single person to review this show, so here we are. 'Cause I like ya. Mostly. Mysticons is an action show starring 4 girls with magical powers that are on a mission to defeat main villain Dreadbane.
Yes, his name is Dreadbane.
And his skeleton army so that the world can stay at peace and so that one of the main characters can free their parents from their stone imprisonment. The girls transformed Sailor Moon style, except with a lot less pink, and they each have their own unique weapons. Arcana, the dragon mage, uses a staff that fires green magic energy. Emerald is the knight. She uses a big sword and an energy shield. I really like her shielding powers. They come in handy quite a bit in the show. From making big energy barriers to a classic arm shield, she's got you covered on defense. Zarya, the ranger, uses a big bow that fires blue magic arrows. She's also tall as hell. That's irrelevant, but I'm mentioning it anyway. And lastly, we have Piper, the striker. Her weapons are 3 hoops that can basically bounce around and return to her after a throw, similar to Captain America's shield. These 4 make up the Mysticons. The world they live in is a mixture of technology, magic, and fantasy creatures like goblins, elves, dwarfs, and so on. In fact, some of the characters in this show have a habit of saying words such as, "Oh my goblin." They say that quite a bit. So, you'll see stuff like flying griffins and pegasi alongside hover cars and big city buildings and trams. Take the Medusa news reporter, for example. She has to wear sunglasses all the time. And I gotta say, that's a pretty solid joke they slipped in there. So, as far as personalities go, Arcana is the responsible, focused princess and leader of the team. However, she's not too serious, and that's a good thing. Emerald is the calmer, rational member of the team, as well as the apologetic one, but she does have her crazy moments.
We're coming, Em! You heard it here first, folks. Gnomes to Men will be performing in Drake City.
I also regret to inform you that Gnomes to Men have cancelled.
Well, that happened. Can we get a younger reference, please? Have you any idea how old Boys to Men are? Zarya is the tougher member. She grew up as an orphan, and she doesn't really get along with people easily. She even has a revenge list that her friends and fellow Mysticons have ended up on.
List? What kind of list? You know, people who pick on me, people who pick on others, people who flick their hair. Basically people I'd like to get even with.
At the same time, she's straightforward and dependable. And lastly, there's Piper, the super energetic and bouncy team member. She serves as the comic relief for this show. Always doing something silly and crazy, but in all honesty, I feel that you only really need 2 words to describe her. Pinkie Pie. This girl is Pinkie Pie. Like, really, like, they're really the same character.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
I'm serious. Like, almost beat for beat, she's pretty much Pinkie Pie. And since this universe has its own My Little Pony clone inside of it, I feel that my comparison isn't too far-fetched. Although, she does tend to use a bit of smartphone slang.
Choosy choose!
There!
Boo-hoo! Sad face emoji. This place is swagalicious! Ooh, we can feed all the kids in the Undercity with this! Yeah, that seemed like it was gonna be way more fun.
Swagalicious? Come on, man! Thankfully, they toned down her slang in later episodes. All in all, I'd say that the characters are likable. Not very unique, but they're interesting enough to follow. Admittedly, it took me about 3 episodes to realize that I forgot the characters' names. And I only just learned Emerald's name while scripting this video, so... Oops. Heck, the only reason I know Zarya's name is because... Well, there you go. And I remember Piper's name because I like Pinkie Pie.
Of course you do.
But all in all, the characters are pretty solid. Much like the animation. Well, that's mostly solid. It gets the job done, but sometimes the characters look a little stiff to me. Suffice to say, the animators stay perfectly on model, so don't respect any squash and stretch animation here, or any kind of anime-type face jokes. On top of that, the girls have a similar design feel that most girl-focused shows have. What I mean is, the characters' shape and design give off this doll vibe. I can't really explain it better than that, but the tiny limbs, the body frame, it just makes me think of dolls for some reason. Like Barbie, something like that. And I don't get this feeling when I look at Kim Possible or Juniper Lee, or even the Powerpuff Girls. And admittedly, the doll vibe isn't that strong here in Mysticons, but it is there. But again, that might just be me, so I'm not going to spend much time harping on it. And for what it's worth, I do like the Mysticons designs, especially Piper's regular look and Zarya's transformation gear. Now, one thing that a lot of people might notice is the jarring mix of CGI animation in this show. It's not there all the time, but it does pop up, and you will notice it. The show looks fine until the CGI rears its ugly head. I don't have a problem with CGI, but it does look kind of bad here. It's distracting, doesn't really blend well. The worst of it happens in this scene where the girls are traversing the buildings. It kind of feels like taking a drawing of a character and then placing them on a pre-made stock background. Look, if it's due to budget constraints, that's fine, I get that. But I still gotta point it out. And another problem that you might notice if you ever watch the show is that they kind of reuse certain animation frames from time to time. The transformation frames, certain fighting moves, these all get reused a few times. And they get reused from the exact same angles too. Like that scene I just talked about where they were traversing the city. It's been reused already, and it's only been 6 episodes in. They reused it shot for shot. Again, I can get past it, but I can also just picture animation YouTubers digging into it and ripping it apart, since they actually know a lot about animation and I'm more of a pretender to the throne. Again, for me, it's not really a deal breaker, but I can almost promise you that you're going to notice it pretty early into the show. Now, the music is pretty catchy at times. Nobody sings or anything like that, but I swear in one episode, it looked like Arcano was about to belt out some tunes. I was scared. He was gonna have a Disney moment there. It's not good. I'm fine with Disney, but I don't want every cartoon in the world whipping out tunes and singing. Broadway must not take over! Sorry about that. The art style is good. The Mysticons themselves are the best looking characters in the show, but that's not really shocking. Everyone else just kind of looks alright. The action it's not Kim Possible, but it works. There hasn't been any anime type fight scenes with big clashes or explosions, but the fight on the trams was pretty entertaining and fast paced. And the show does have a good sense of humor too. All in all, I think Mysticons is a solid show. I don't think it's gonna be Nickelodeon's next big thing. It's hard to make these kind of girl-focused shows successful, but I think it has a pretty decent chance to run for a bit. It's harmless and lighthearted. The tone gets a little off balance at times though. I mean, this guy's sister over here betrayed him and tried to kill him, and he was able to shake that off in the same moment. He even said he wasn't surprised. And yeah, it was kind of played for laughs, but it still felt a little odd. And the pacing in the first 3 episodes is a little too fast as well in the plot department. I've never seen a character learn a lesson so fast and easily until watching Arcana learn how to trust her team. I mean, it just zoomed on by. Other than that, I feel pretty comfortable in giving Mysticons a 6 out of 10. It's alright. I like the characters, they're a fun bunch. The plot is standard, but functional. And it does look better than most of the standard girl-focused shows that I've seen over the years. And it actually has what can be considered action in it. So, tell me what you think about Mysticons if you've already seen it. And if you haven't seen it, let me know if you plan to check it out or not. Anyway, that's it for the video. Gotta say, this has been the most amount of videos I've ever put out in 1 month. Which is good, because I got jury duty next month and I won't be really posting anything after the 18th. 4 days of sitting in a room with strangers pretending to care about our broken legal system. America! Oh, God. Well, that's gonna suck. Anyway, thanks for watching, people. I'm out. Later. How do you know jury duty is bad? Simple. It sucks so bad that they make you pay a $1,000 fine and or send you to jail for not going. That's some bullshit.
What's a twinkly mare?
She's got sparkly hair and so much flair.